I don't think on. Public Work and Agenda Setting Board Meeting of the Leechburg Area School District. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. Roll call, please. Here.
Mr. Dunbar.
Here. Mr. Pauls.
Here.
Stewart. Mr. Town.
Here.
An executive session was conducted prior to the public meeting at 5:30 p.m. February 12, 2025, in the superintendent's office to discuss legal issues, contracts, and personnel. Student representative report.
Good evening. On Saturday, February 1st, the Leechburg Student Council held their snowball dance at the Marconi Club. The theme was Meet Me at Midnight, and there were over 140 people in attendance.
3 members of the Leechburg Band were selected to participate in the PMEA District 3 Band: Joey Stenonis, Chloe Munt, and Jillian Bortz. These students practiced at Indiana High School between January 23rd through the 25th, with a concert taking place on the night of the 25th. 5 members of the Leechburg Choir were selected to participate in PMEA District 3 Choir: Katie Monroe, John Rowan, Rachel Renke, Dean Sanders, and Connor Duff. These students practiced at River Valley High School between February 5th through February 7th, with a concert taking place on the night of the 7th.
Earlier today, the Quiz Bowl team went to their second meet this year at Burrell High School. We were definitely there. I would just say that. The Armstrong Junior County Chorus concert is being held tonight at Leechburg at 7 o'clock in the auditorium. Students from every choir in the Armstrong County from grades 7 through 9 came together today to practice and perform a selection of choir pieces. That's all we have. Thank you.
Thank you.
Connor, congratulations on District Choir. How was it? Your experience good?
It happened. It was nice. The concert was nice. There were some personal issues that happened that made it not really great. But if that didn't happen, I'd have an amazing time.
Did anyone go to Region Choir at that point?
No.
Did anyone go to Region Band?
No.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah, it was nice. I don't regret going. It was a nice experience.
Well, congratulations for going to District Band. I would say the rest to everyone else, but congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any public comment this evening? Erin, intermediate report. We could always come back to it if she comes here. Lenape report, Mr. Lovelace, Mr. Dunmeyer. Okay. Thank you. I have no report. We have not met the Armstrong County Tax Collection Committee. PSBA member liaison report.
On February 4th, Governor Shapiro presented his 2025-26 state budget proposal. There is now a video on the PSBA Government Affairs that analyzes the details of the budget, and that's viewable at My PSBA. It just goes through and talks about the different money being allocated to different school districts and different entities. There's an opportunity to earn a certificate in school safety preparedness. There will be one class in the summer, one class in the fall. If you're interested, let me know, and we will send you a link to sign up. My PSBA has been updating their resources. The updated resources include filing a board vacancy, social media guide for school directors, executive session 101, advocacy guide, and a closer look at understanding the school district budgeting process. On February 21st, there will be a Right to Know update webinar. On April 14th, there will be a webinar on the Ethics Act and how to stay out of the papers and out of trouble, which will focus on what the Ethics Act is and how the State Ethics Commission enforces it. And finally, PSBA is seeking to fill vacancies for the PIAA district committees and the PIAA Board of Directors. The term will run July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2027. Applications should be filled out and submitted online. The PSBA Governing Board will determine the appointment of each district committee representative in coordination with the PSBA sectional advisor. So if you're interested in sports at the PIAA level, one of us could potentially serve on that. This also goes out to every district within our region. I'm not sure what region we are. We essentially do everything in southeastern Pennsylvania. Nope, southwestern Pennsylvania, sorry, except for Pittsburgh. Allegheny County is like its own entity of PIAA. We encompass everything else. So if you're interested in that, I did send a link to the email, but but that was just the formal information. That's all.
Thank you. Dr. Vargo.
Good evening. Just like to give you some updates here with the high school and the middle school. So we had our Student of the Month celebrations for January. Our winner for the high school was Jillian Bortz, a 10th grader. Our nominating teachers were Mrs. Schenk, Dr. Linkus, and Mr. Morochek. Teachers highlighted things about Jillian, about her leadership abilities, accountability, her interactions with others and adults. And I'd like to also thank Mrs. DeCapity for being there to take the pictures for the celebration and test for the fruit that was provided for that as well. The middle school, Ava Au was our middle school winner. Nominating teachers was Miss Hebrank and Mrs. Jaros. Both teachers talked about her responsibility, quality of work, and her interactions with others are on a high level. And so that's an elite job for both those students, and I'd like to congratulate them. I'd also like to give thanks to Mrs. Vigna there. She helped out with this celebration because it was in the afternoon and not in the morning. So she stepped in for the pictures, and they both were outstanding. I'd additionally like to recognize and congratulate the nominees who did not win, but we had 25 nominees student-wise for both buildings. And I get great joy when I'm able to pen the emails to the nominees to say, hey, congratulations, you were nominated. I know, you didn't win Student of the Month, but, your teachers are recognizing what you're doing, when it comes to leadership and accountability and things that, the habits that we want to see in the building. I send those every month to the students, and I CC the nominating teacher and their parents on that. And I just think it's a great nod to those students to say, hey, we see you, keep up the good work. Also, too, we presented the Varsity Scholar Award for the fall. We just did that. So 36 students earned that award. For eligibility for that award, you have to be in a fall sport or an event activity, and you have to average a 90% attendance rate and 90% in your core classes. So we had it in here. We took pictures of the event. We shared those pictures with the students. I'd like to thank Ms. Hebrank for organizing, tracking grades, attendance, contacting students. Mr. Stitt in the shop class, they create the plaques over in the wood shop. They have the names are customized. They're very well done. And I'd also like to thank Mrs. Vigna also for coming in and taking pictures, organizing them, sending them to students. I know that's a time-consuming task. The pictures turned out great. I really appreciate everybody who was involved, and we had a nice little reception for it. And hopefully the students were appreciative of that, and in their recognition. So hats off to them for doing a nice job in the fall sports season. The high school was selected to participate in the Pennsylvania Youth Risk Behavior Survey. So I have had some experience with the PACE survey. They're doing a little bit different this year. It used to be where the entire building would participate in this. Now they just pick at random a class, 1 to 3 classrooms to participate in this. So I was contacted. It's not something we can opt out of as a building. So I was contacted by PACE. I had to provide them with a list of teachers for second period, the number of students in the classroom, and the grade levels. No identifying information about the actual students in there. They picked at random 1 to 3 classrooms. We have 1 classroom that's going to be participating in this. Yesterday, I spoke to that classroom, explained what it was. There's an opportunity that parents can opt their students out of it. I provided that opt-out paperwork to the students for them to take home and explain what's on the survey. So what the survey looks at is different types of behaviors of students, and they take those results and put them together in a report. Like I said, when they used to do it by building, they would provide that to the building itself. They wouldn't publicly publish it because that, it does ask things about possible risky behavior, alcohol use, tobacco use, things like that. But it's to inform your counselors and programming at the state level to try to help out students better, for more tailored to problems that you're seeing, across the state. But like I said, this is not the entire building. It's just one classroom We will not get the specific reports, so students don't have to worry about us, trying to narrow down who answered what. And then they will publish that with the other 90 schools. And then I think that also goes into some national data as well, which again is to try to help out, better inform what things that can be offered to help out students. I also emailed the parents with that information, who the students are going to be involved with this survey. And I also attached the opt-out form with that. As long as they turn that in, the students would be opt-out. The survey itself only takes about 20 minutes. It's done online, and a person from PAYS will come in and monitor and conduct that survey. So that's coming up next week, just in one classroom in the high school there. Also with that, we also are set up and ready to go for Firefly testing. So this is supposed to mirror or mimic what the online testing is going to look like for the state assessments. We're testing in bulk, or in mass, I should say, in coordination with the elementary, just to see how our infrastructure works with the internet. And then also just to see, what kind of reporting and data this test will give us. We're doing ELA. It is also set up for math, but math will do that at their own convenience within the classroom there. So that's going to be set up on the 19th, and we'll see how that goes. So fingers crossed that the internet holds out. If not, I guess that'd be the day to have it go out, so then we can figure it out, come April and May. The January PD Day, just to give you an update, I'd like to thank Mr. Barker. He helped me present. We planned on doing an AI 3-part session or 3-part series. So part 1 was on the background of AI. Part 2, we're going to be talking about policy, privacy of students, and we're going to start working with different platforms with the teachers. Part 3 will be on the prompts and how to really make AI work for you. So early feedback states that this 3-part series probably rivals Star Wars and The Godfather. So hopefully parts 2 and 3 will be right on tag with that. So, and the last thing I have is letters of intent. I'd like to congratulate 3 of our student athletes who just committed to play at a collegiate level. Jaden Floyd, he committed to Weber International University, that's in Florida, to play football, so congratulations to him. Emily Tallarico, she committed to Carlo to play volleyball, so congratulations to her. And Jake Cummings, he committed to Allegheny to play football, so congratulations to him. I wish them all the best of luck, except for Jake when they play Teal. I hope they get crushed. That's my updates. Does anybody have any questions for me? Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Komar.
Hello, everyone. Good evening. We have the elementary reports and also special ed reports. So at the elementary on Friday, coming up, Valentine's Day's here upon us. So we'll have our Valentine's Day parties in the afternoon. Those will start at 1:30 at the elementary. So I know all the kids are looking forward to it. It's nice having them come in with their boxes all decorated and some of the creative things they've done. So that's always a cool thing to see. As Dr. Vargo said, we'll be doing Firefly in the elementary as well as at the secondary on the 19th to test our infrastructure. We will do math on the 21st. So elementary will do ELA on the 19th and math on the 21st. So we'll get those out. We'll be excited to see those scores and see what kind of areas we need to work on for the upcoming PSSAs. Towards the end of February, on the 21st, the Children's Institute will be in to do a puppet show on inclusion through their outreach program. That's for grades K through 3. And then we have a lot of stuff for Read Across America. I know that'll fall before our next board meeting. So the PTA is doing a book fair on that Monday. And again, this Read Across America week will be the 3rd through the 7th. We have a March 5th is a pre-K event for Dr. Seuss. And March 6th will be the family reading night in the evening. So looking forward to that. And also on March 6th, thank you to Mrs. Deemer, 4th grade teacher, who's friends with Michelle Wright from WTAE. So she's actually going to come in and read to the whole school on in the afternoon of the 6th. So looking forward to that as well. For special education on the 19th, special ed staff will be in to do safety care training to our de-escalation program that we have in place for situations as they arise. We got 23 IEP meetings scheduled for February, 2 gifted IEPs, and 3 504s. towards the end of the month, we'll do early intervention meetings with the families that have kids with, or students that are coming into kindergarten that have the pre-IEPs in place. So we'll meet with those families and see how we can, what supports we'll need as they come into school age. Any questions for me? All right, thanks.
Thanks.
Mr. Cessna?
Good evening. Most of my items this evening are updates from items mentioned last month. We're currently still working through the local CPA audit. It's not completed yet, but I did receive an email from the audit firm this morning, and we are shooting to have it completed by March 21st so that that can be wrapped up before, obviously, the end of March when it is due. We've also been working through something called a food service procurement audit. We've been going back and forth with the state for the past 2 or 3 weeks. Just when I say going back and forth, passing information back and forth. And when I provide them some information, they have questions and request additional detail. But hopefully with tomorrow's exchange of information, we can wrap that up. Workplace Safety Committee audit, we went through just an audit with I think it was the Department of Labor in January. There were no issues. They issued a report, and I would like to thank Paula Moore for her assistance with that. That was a lot of her doing in making sure we got that a clean audit there. Payroll tax reports for January were completed. I think we're done with those. I don't want to see those again for another quarter. Saw enough of those in January, but haven't had anything come back. So hopefully, knock on wood, that we got everything, our I's dotted and our T's crossed. Last item that I wanted to mention, and I'm sure everyone is aware, this time of year begins the really starting to get into the budget process, and I intend to next week start a little more heavily and become a little more heavily involved in starting that process and starting to prepare analysis and try to do some trending to see where we have been, where we're going, and shoot for the target of having everything ready for the beginning of May so that the board can have have a lot of information to be educated in making decisions for the budget. So with that, if you have any questions or anything, let me know, email me or call me. So, okay.
Ms. Mondale?
Good evening and happy February. First grade celebrated 100 days of school by dressing as though they were 100 years old. They also created projects using 101 things. Some were including 100 stickers, 100 baseball cards, 100 goldfish, and posters were hung in the first grade hallway for everyone to enjoy. The fifth grade art students created plaster conversational hearts, and they discovered how pop culture has influenced and changed the messages over the years. This week is Random Act of Kindness Week, so the elementary is participating in that with some spirit days. There's a Be the Eye in Kind banner hanging on the third floor hallway thanks to Mrs. Hetrick and her art students. The Student Council is sponsoring a Wiggle Worm Random Act of Kindness challenge and search in the elementary. And the Elementary Student Council worked collaboratively with Mrs. Shabondigi's video production class to produce an informative video about wiggle worms and that challenge. The Student Council kids loved working with the video production kids, so they're planning to do some more things together in the future. And February 14th is not just Valentine's Day, but the elementary students are also celebrating National School Resource Officer Appreciation Day. So get excited for that. All ninth grade biology students improved by an average of 50 plus points on their CDT. Some classes even had up to 100% improvement. So Ms. Fisher is very impressed and excited about that. Contrary to Connor's report, 2 students did move on to region band. Sophomores Jillian Bortz and Joey Stanonis are moving on. They competed against students from 28 schools across 5 counties. So the two of them moving on is huge. And as we get closer and closer to the end of the year, band camp schedules have been given out, and the band kids are preparing for their leadership roles and their auditions for that. And finally, 'tis that time of year where Honors English 12 students pick their project topics for their big final project. Some of the topics for this year include robot soldiers, genetically engineered mosquitoes, hyperbaric chambers to treat PTSD, some sort of solar cells that has a weird Russian name that I'm not even going to begin to pronounce, weight loss drugs, Q collars to prevent concussions, and I'm not looking forward to the one on lab-grown meat, but there we are. Any questions for me? Thank you very much.
Now we're gonna go through some of the, do you have 7.1 for personnel? Okay, I'm just checking my numbers. So these are all discussion items. I'll just read through them. If there's anything that you would like me to stop and discuss, please just let me know. 7.1, part-time paraprofessional pre-K. 7.2, the resignation of employee 938. 7.3, the 24-25 athletic supplementals. You have a list of names there. 7.4, the cafeteria monitor. 8.1, the budget transfers. 8.2, the financial reports. Any questions or discussions on any of those things? 8.3, the Aaron IU elects pregnant and parenting teens program. The 25 through 2030 Aaron IU RWAN E-rate consortium. The Gilpin-Leechburg Recreation Authority agreement for the softball field.
Can I just add to that?
Yeah.
Last year was raised $500. They asked us for those $500. We're talking to them and waiting to hear back, but what I did ask in return would be keys to the restroom, so we don't have to rent a porta john for the whole time, which would help balance it out. We may still need it for the first scrimmage is on March 10th, so they may not have the water turned on yet. So I believe what we're going to do is order a porta john just for the first month, but hopefully then they'll give Mr. Grant check so the coach can have a key, open up the bathrooms and close them whenever teams are up there practicing. So we don't have to pay for that. So balance it out like that. And I get where they're at, their costs are going up, but I said, listen, sometimes we can't do 500 a year every year like that, but I understand that one. So hopefully I'll get that back as we'll have that trade off.
Thank you for doing that. 8.6, the McClure Amendment number 1. 8.7, the 25 through 28 Meadows Psychiatric Center Letter of Agreement. 8.8, the circulating hot water pump for the elementary school.
We're going to do that when we get to it.
Okay,
It was taken care of for each one.
okay,
I'll bring it up.
okay. 8.9, the Aaron Cooperative Purchasing Program. 8.10, the 24 through 26 Aaron IU General Operating Budget. 8.11, real estate tax collection rate. Any questions on that? Any of those things? Field trip requests. 9.1 through 9.6. Would you like me to read through each of those? Does anybody have any questions or discussion on any of those? Okay. Fundraising requests, 10.1 PBIS Smensels. This is a retroactive approval. 10.2, the Natural Honor Society and Interact various fundraisers. That's March through May. Questions on those? Professional development requests, Jessica Manofsky and Kristen Smith, ISP conference. This is a retroactive.
I'll take responsibility for the retroactive water. Membership with the FTC ran out. I didn't have it be due in time, and that'll be the registration costs on that. It's something they get through here. They bring back functions every year. January, you can tell about Pittsburgh, and then we usually attend the May one. It's the state one on there for the conference that has more. I don't go to this one because it has a Christmas side to it, but the other part of that. That was going earlier this week on there, and they brought back some great ideas, brought some work back from IU7 and Professor that they were working on. So just seeing the payoff of them being there, being a part of it,
And they always say they always feel that once they're there, seeing, we're ahead of a lot of the schools around, and we always can fix things up. But I apologize for that being retroactive. That was one thing that I understood.
Superintendent's report.
First off, I want to thank our staff, our students, and our administration. As you went through those reports, we heard what they said. There's some great things going on here, and it doesn't happen without the collaboration that's going on right now amongst all of them. So I want to thank them as we go through there. I want to welcome the Armstrong County Junior County Chorus members here tonight for their performance. Update: our cafeteria tables are finally going to arrive this Friday. There was some issues with North Carolina with the flooding that came through there from the hurricane months ago, and then there's a laminate issue. So what we have are the blue and gray that will rotate with the 8 tables with the emblems on them that are in logos. 6 out of the 8 are coming. They're giving us 2 of the tables. 2 of them got messed up. They were going to hold them, but we've been going through this long enough. So they said it would be about 6 to 8 weeks before the other 2 come, but we'll have 2 fill-ins that will take place. And I'm hoping that we'll end up with those 2 extra tables as backups for later down the road with that. So we have 2 dumpsters coming in on Monday, I believe, and we're going to rip the old ones apart, put the metal in one to clear those out to get rid of them, and then the new ones will be in there, which we're going to get videos, pictures of it. It's going to really change that cafeteria around. We were hoping to have it done a long time ago, but I'm just glad we finally got a hold of the people that were doing that. Just some updates that are going on. Last week I attended the ABC Create update with that, and if anybody that knows, we've been a part of ABC Create for 10 years. Mr. Magnus was a part of that when he was superintendent here. We had some changeover. They have a new provost. The Penn State Kevin Snyder, who did a lot of stuff for education in New Kensington and the whole area, has retired, and they brought in Dr. Megan Nagel, who was the chancellor or provost at Penn State Greater Allegheny, which is in McKeesport. She's now in charge of the Greater Allegheny, the New Kensington, and the Fayette branches on there. So some of the savings they're cutting down on, but really looking at, we have a bunch of materials we bought in our planning of what we did, but it was interesting. I was on the panel. There were 3 superintendents, myself, Dr. Wagner from Burrell, and Mary Catherine, superintendent at Fox Chapel, were the 3 that were selected to be a part of that, because we've been a part of it from the beginning of looking at how do we change the direction. It was really about the last 10 years we've been chasing money and changing what our view or vision was depending on what money was available. So we're looking to back down and how do we get accessibility to our teachers so that they can get the training. We've had some great training. I will say, and I've talked about this multiple times, it's hard for our district because we're so small to send the same teacher over and over, but they've had some really high quality things that are going on there. And we're looking to really try to get more ownership of each district. So it'll help us of, my goal is to get our principals being a part of that so then they can share it on with the teachers as we move forward with that. So I'll keep everybody updated. We have 3 or 4 more meetings. The Grable Foundation gave us $90,000 to work through this year of transition before we come up with a plan, and we're going to restructure what it looks like and where we go with that. I was at our superintendent's meeting today, and one of the key pieces that came up that there's been a lot of talk about the Federal Department of Education and whether it's being eliminated or not on that. And it's come out, it would require an act of Congress, but even if it would, the statements that they shared with us today is that there's no discussion of the money disappearing from schools. It would be reallocated through other sources to come through there. Don't know what it'll be. We read things every day with that part of it, but I know there's a lot of rumors out there of this federal money is going to be gone. It's going to be, we haven't seen any of that, and Mr. Kirchie today reiterated that. So we'll see what happens as we go through that. If anybody read the article that was posted and I shared it, it's called Our Taxes, Their Slush Fund. I'll share it with anybody who wants to read it. It's a pretty interesting article about Commonwealth Charter Academy's expenses and some of the money that's been wasted on vehicles and trips and everything else except for kids' education. This is one of the same ones that I sat in a hearing and one of their members talked about never having a kid attend a class or attend an IEP meeting, but we were charged for special ed costs for that. So my hope, I did forward that to Senator Pittman's office, and I'm hoping he can give me some answers. We've been fighting to try to get those numbers regulated so it's not out of control. So I'm hoping that some of this data will help us on that as we move forward. So I think it's a key piece of information that may help our budgets as we move forward. A couple other updates I want to have. Our celebration of learning for the district will be on Monday, April 14th. And we're going to run that from 5 to 7 p.m. to try to let some people get there before practice or after practice with things going on. The teachers will have some things on display with that as a part of that. And then for all the board members, just to remember, April 15th, that Tuesday, is our IU, it's their convention. So every 13th year, there's 13 schools there. We hosted last year, it was at Indiana. I attended it with Mr. Paulus and Ms. Stewart. This year, we will be having it here, so we'll have roughly 100 to 130 people attending it. So we're planning with the IU to put those pieces in place. A lot of the costs are taken care of by the IU for the celebration. So it'll be nice to get people here from the other districts and be able to show off what we're doing here with that. Does anybody have any other questions?
I just have one question. Is
Sure.
it correct the federal money that we receive is a little over 3% of our budget? Would that be right?
No, it's, so our federal, a lot of it gets pushed through. So our federal program money's only, it's under $300,000 that goes through that.
That's what I mean.
Yeah. So we pay for our 2 Title I teachers with that. We have class size reduction. That's another piece of that. And then we have a little bit of money to play with on Title IV,
So 300.
pay for some security or enhancements on that. Those numbers, we set our budget, we do everything. We still haven't even got our exact numbers for the current school year. So when we go back to talking with Mr. Cessna on our budget, they ask us to do a budget before the state has a budget. We also have to put our federal program stuff in, and then they'll allot it and go through. So we'll see, it should stay the same. What I'm hearing is we're not sure what those numbers will look like next year from the federal side. They're saying it's a win if it stays equal. So we're hoping that it stays. It's gone up slightly, but we're usually within $5,000 over the last few years. So we've never had any big movement one way or the other. And last but not least on that, just a little update. I guess I want to put on. Last month I talked about giving a STEB update and where we're at with that. And I just wanted to say, since our meeting and we had our town hall meeting, I've met with Westmoreland County commissioners, along with some of the board members met with us. Dr. Coudray came with us. Mr. Paulus was at some of those with it. Mr. Lovelace was at our meeting at the commissioner's office when we showed up the meeting to bring up what was going on, how that was acting. We went back and forth. I pulled up emails. I have probably over 80 emails between Renee Reynolds at STEB, Ben Haft, who is the chief of the Division of Subsidies for PDE, as well as Camden Porterfield at Westmoreland County Assessments. We've had Teams meetings where STEB didn't show up to the meeting on that part of it. So we're going to continue to push with what's going on and looking at how do we try to balance this out with it as we continue to go through that. Our next step, I met with Senator Pittman on it the same way. Our next step will be looking at some of the legislation that's come out. We have a resolution today for our money that they put in. So on the budget, and the state determined that we were unfairly taxing our residents, but they put some stipulations on how we can do that. So we'll look at what fits into being able to spend that on savings in those 5 ways and then move forward from there on that part of it. But it's not a done deal. Looking at preliminary, I think next month we'll be able to have some numbers of what it's going to look like for next year. I can say with pretty high confidence there won't be a big swing like there was last year on that. Don't have exact numbers on it, but we ran some basic numbers that I don't think we'll see that. So next month we'll have a little bit more of an update of what that looks like and what we can do to try to help resolve the issue of those jumps. Just so everybody knows, we are on an odd year this year, which if you look back over the history of that, it's a high jump in West Leechburg, and then it bounces out. It usually goes a little bit towards Armstrong. The next year it goes back, the even and odds on that. And I asked them for an explanation of that, and they couldn't give me it either. They used 2 different formulas with it, but they told me there's no issues with their formula. So just where we're at with that, and we'll continue to try to get answers out of them.
Thank you. Bus schedule changes? 25-26 school calendar.
I just want to thank the school calendar, the staff. We were able to pull together 9 teachers in here. We spent 45 minutes to an hour looking through it. I think we got a win-win for everybody on it. The only thing that we didn't finalize that I'll be coming back to the board probably in May We had a discussion of an early start, to still get out the first week of June. If we would have started later, we would have been in the second week of June. But the possibility of maybe doing kindergarten for a half day, the first 3 days of school, so that they're not so swamped with what's going on with that. So I'll bring that back as we go through that planning, but it would still fit within that schedule that we have.
Did we always sit with the teachers to do the calendar?
No, in the past couple of years, they have not been a part of that. And I think that openly in our negotiations right now, it will be in the contract that they have that right every year. I don't feel that it should be done without their input. On
Yeah.
that as we go through it. They did a great job of working with us on it.
Yeah, I think that's great. So thank you, everybody, for doing that. And Candy would be really happy to hear that. So the 339 plan for 25 through 28.
And this is a plan that's due by the state. I want to thank Ms. Mattis and Dr. Lynch for completing that. Really what it's looking at are the transitions throughout the course of what are we doing to prepare kids, one for career readiness, and are we transitioning. So we have an event coming up for the kindergarten transition for the incoming kindergartners. They look at those kids as they transition from 5th grade into the middle school, as well as that middle school into the high school, and how are we preparing them through that process. So it's a pretty detailed plan that goes through with that. It's submitted to the state every 3 years and updated with that. So I will say they did a very nice job of looking at what the needs of our students are, what the needs of the district are, and putting that plan together for the next 3 years.
Resolution authorizing the retention of counsel for litigation against Eli Lilly, attorney-client fee contract, the Act 55 resolution, tax equity resolution, 13.7, the broker of record. Any questions, discussion on any of those things? Do we have any public comment on non-agenda items? Can we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor? Meeting adjourned at 6:53. Does anybody need a minute before we start the next one? Y'all all set? Okay, just checking. Called to order the February 12th, 2025 meeting of the Leechburg Area School Board. Can you please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. Roll call, please. Here.
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 Do we have any public comment on agenda items? Can we have a motion to approve the meeting minutes for the month of January 2025 as submitted?
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to approve the part-time paraprofessional for pre-K as submitted, pending successful completion of all required paperwork and clearances. This is Shayna Zach, part-time paraprofessional for pre-K.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to accept the resignation of employee number 938, effective January 22nd, 2025, with an official last day of March 23rd, 2025.
Motion. Second.
Any discussion?
Regretfully.
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'd like to take a second just to thank Mr. Cessna for his work here. Through that, he's really helped me as we transition through that year. I wish him well on his new endeavor, which will be much closer. And, you know, everybody that's been a part of this winter can understand that there's much appreciation to being closer to work for that. So good luck and thank you.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for jumping in and handling everything and answering all of our questions. You've been wonderful. The 24-25 athletic supplementals, a motion is needed to approve the following 24-25 athletic supplementals as submitted pending successful completion of all required paperwork and clearances. Ann Fisher, Assistant Junior High Volleyball, paid. Sarah Cuffia, Assistant Junior High Volleyball, volunteer. Ava Powell, Assistant Junior High Volleyball, volunteer. Gracie Rinke, Assistant Junior High Volleyball, volunteer. Blake Davis, Assistant Track, paid. Amy Tassone, Assistant Track, paid. Nate Oz, Assistant Track, volunteer. And Jeffrey Machetta, Assistant Softball, paid. Do we have a motion?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to approve the cafeteria monitor pending successful completion of all required paperwork and clearances. Virginia Terry for the cafeteria monitor.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Budget transfers, a motion is needed to approve the budget transfers for the month of January 2025 as submitted.
So moved.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to acknowledge receipt of the following financial reports and to ratify and approve the expenditures expressly set forth therein. Capital reserve expenditures, capital reserve revenue, construction fund expenditures, construction fund revenue, food service expenditures, food service revenue, general fund expenditures, general fund revenue, student activity fund monthly report, student activity fund quarterly report, student scholarship fund expenditure, scholarship fund revenue, the cash receipts list, the treasurer's report, and the check detail reports. Do we have a motion? It's 5.2, Ms. Stewart. Do we have a motion? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to approve the Parent and Parenting Teens Elect program through the Aaron IU as submitted. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to approve the 25 through 30 Aaron IU RWAN E-rate consortium as submitted. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to approve the agreement with the Gilpin-Leechburg Recreational Authority for use of Gilpin-Leechburg Area Park softball field as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to approve the McClure Amendment Number 1 as submitted. Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to approve the 2025 through 2028 Meadows Psychiatric Center Letter of Agreement as submitted.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to approve, yes, we're gonna, motion is needed to table agenda item 5.8, which was approving the bid for a circulating hot water pump at the elementary building.
Mr. Just so you know, that was taken care of before, that they were taken care of. So that's why.
Thank you.
Yep.
Do you need a motion to? Motion. Second.
Discussion? Thank you for working that out. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to approve the 2025 through 2026 resolution for participation in the Aaron Cooperative Purchasing Program as submitted. Discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Did I? Yeah, I did. Yeah, that was the one we just did, yeah. They're on 2 pages, so. A motion is needed to approve the 2025, is it okay?
Yeah,
Thir-
so I just wanted, because I wasn't sure.
She
Yeah.
read the different wording. She read the second page wording instead of the title.
Sorry.
That was all. It's the same
I got you.
thing.
A motion is needed to approve the 2025 through 2026 Aaron IU General Operating Budget as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? Do you want to, since it's related to this, did you have an update for Aaron real quick?
Not on the budget, I can say that we did hire a new business manager. I don't think I shared that in the last meeting, but anyway, it was a unanimous vote to steal him from us. You know what I did? I asked if I could abstain, and then I just said, whenever I did vote, I said regretful yes. I usually don't hear regretful yes. But anyway, I did say that. And then we do have, at the next meeting, which is next Tuesday, I'm fairly sure we'll be hiring our new administrator, in charge of the whole, I forget what his term is now. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so that's going to be this coming Tuesday. That's all I need to add.
Thank you.
Thank you for asking.
Sure. Any other discussion on that budget? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to approve increasing the real estate tax collection rate from $6 to $7 per first payment collected. The tax collection rate for remaining payments collected will remain the same at $3.50 per payment collected.
Second.
Any discussion?
Yes. Can you just explain?
I also am confused. My understanding is this is the tax collectors asking for an increase in their,
So as they do their work on that, I've seen on the agendas of a lot of districts around, they've all sort of came to the conclusion that we need a little bit more money.
Oh, I don't have a, I just don't understand what it means from $6 to $7 per first payment collected.
So if they get the payment right now, we're paying $6 per collection, it'll work $1 per.
Oh, okay, and then the other will stay at, okay, all right, I just.
Because they send out, if they don't get it, then they send a letter out saying you haven't received yours yet. And if they get the second time, it's less money on it.
Right, and I remember the whole discussion back before, but I couldn't read this and understand it.
No problem.
Thank you.
so just to clarify, this is $1. Is that right? We're paying $1 more per tax bill.
Payment, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Per payment collected, yeah.
Yeah, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to combine and approve field trip requests 9.1 through 9.6 as submitted.
6.1. It's just the way it transfers over.
Tell me what is the right number?
6.1 to 6.6.
Okay. I don't know, but thank you for correcting me.
It'll do the same thing next.
Mine says 9.1. A motion is needed to combine and approve field trip requests 6.1 through 6.6 as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Next one will be 7.1 to 7.2.
Thank you.
And then I'll tell you the next one.
A motion is needed to combine and approve fundraising requests 7.1 through 7.2 as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to approve professional development request 8.1 as submitted.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to approve the bus schedule changes as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Discussion? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to approve the 2025 through 2026 school calendar as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion?
You know my thoughts, but.
Wait, no, you're gonna be really glad, I think.
Starting on the 20th?
Well, oh,
Hey,
well, there-
the teachers chose that.
I know.
this was the first time that I think there was 9 teachers that work with Dr. Kugler.
Yes.
And so I thought that would please you. Okay,
Yeah, I'm just thinking about.
yeah.
And it's through the court here.
The teachers know.
We had a discussion that we're looking at, we didn't finalize it yet, about doing half day for kindergarten these first 3 days. To
That's
try
right.
to balance that out a little bit, so that's some of the compromise
Yeah.
we discussed. We'll bring those final details in May. as we prepare.
Okay, no, I just, I was gonna say, I think it should be a little bit later, but if people want it earlier, that's fine.
I will say they do have, the kids have a nice 2-week break for Christmas.
I was looking at that.
Which was part of that, there were some longer breaks that allowed them to be able to go there. If we would have went the other way, we were like till June 10th or 11th or something.
Yeah, no, I think it looks all right. It's just I had to put my 2 cents about how I like the later
I'd
start.
rather be after Labor Day.
I don't even know why I like the later start anymore, to be honest. It's just something I always said. So that's good.
All right, any more discussion on that? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to approve the Leechburg Area School District 339 plan as submitted.
So moved.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to approve the resolution authorizing the retention of counsel for litigation against Eli Lilly as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to approve the attorney-client fee contract as submitted.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to approve the Act 55 Ready to Learn Tax Equity Resolution as submitted. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. A motion is needed to make MGI Risk Management the broker of record for Leechburg Area School District. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Do we have any public comment on non-agenda items this
I
evening?
have a question, if I can add that in there.
Sure.
I had a question on non-agenda items, similar to what the Borough Council does, if anyone's ever been to a Borough Council meeting. At the very end of their meetings, they go through each individual council member and they say, do you have anything to go over? I figured that would be something nice that we can do here. At the end of the meeting, we would go through Mr. Townsend, Ms. Stewart, Ms. Knight, all the way around the table. If anyone had any questions, concerns, comments, just to bring it up at that point, because there's really no other time to like bring up any conversations anything that's not on the agenda. So I figured that would be a nice addition to our agenda. If we could do it, we may have no one do it. We may have people do it. Just something to consider.
And there's nobody that has anything?
I don't.
You want to add like an item on the agenda at the end of the meeting?
Sure.
I typically
Officially or
see
something?
it'll be item 10, public comment, usually is the last thing. I've seen that at other school districts.
Right. Well, that's, I mean,
Yes,
gonna add it,
yes.
like, officially on here.
That's what I would say, I guess. It's just something that if you had something, like for instance, like I could bring up tonight, like I would, like the bleachers up at the football field, they don't get used at all. So can we take those and move them up to the baseball field for the baseball season after refurbishing the benches with new plywood or whatever wood we have to use for that? So like that could come up at that point in the conversation. That's all I have.
Yeah, and we had talked about like revisiting a board policy in our zeros line that says that the superintendent is the only one who can set the agenda. And so maybe we want to relook at that, because another thing we can do is if somebody has something so that everybody could be prepared to discuss it, if we want something added to the agenda for discussion, we could just get the information to you ahead of time. It could be added too. Then,
We should have it how we make it.
Yeah.
But I'll look at that policy if we need to adjust that. Yeah, anytime there's anything. But if there's something that's not agenda that's like that, for sure. And I just want to remind any board members who are available for our negotiations tomorrow at 3 p.m. In my office.
okay. Can we have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Motion.
Second.
Any discussion on?
Did you announce the date and time of the next?
Oh, the next meeting will be Wednesday, March 12th, 2025 at 6 p.m. in the library. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Meeting adjourned at 7:10.